Muddy was playing when I was plowing. Muse, that is. And I call him today the godfather of the blues.
You said you love me, baby. Please call on the phone sometime.
My dad always told Muddy that he was gonna preach. Because if you notice, he had a lot of that in his singing.
You said you love me, baby. Please call on the phone sometime.
You know, there's a demon in me, and Muddy, there's a demon in everyone. It's trying to express it to everybody else. Say, there's a dark beast in us all.
Yeah. Muddy had something about him that made the songs themselves stand out. But what he was doing at the same time was inventing the rock and roll combo.
Yeah.
When Muddy Waters was talking to you, I was patting my feet. When he was talking, sounded like he was singing all the time.
The most sexy blues man that I've ever encountered is Muddy, without a doubt. He's bad, man. I think about it now and I get kind of trembling.
No, you had my phone.
He was as much as a family man as he could be. He was a womanizer.
He knew how to play his hand. He played it well.
I pick up my receiver, and the party says, there's another music.
Guys like Muddy Waters, you know, you can't be as great as Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf without having another deeper level that has nothing to do with music. It's based on experiences, you know.
The blues is more than music. The blues is a legend. It's a story born out of the captivity of slavery, or the frustration of newfound freedom. It's a voice in the southern darkness complaining about the human condition.
Name of Kelly Morganfield, nickname Muddy Water, Snowball's famous guitar picker.
Everybody called him Muddy. Mm-hmm. His grandmother gave him that name and it stuck. Everybody called him Muddy.
I was with them. My grandmother raised me, you see.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
My grandmother raised me up in...
Everybody had to work, didn't they?
Everybody had to work, you know. Because I don't let little kids, 10 years old, out there working, you know, on the farm.
In the days of the sharecropper, of course, the landowner actually owned the land, but the sharecropper made a settlement with the landowner at the beginning of the year, and he was furnished a house, he was furnished his food. Most farms had a big commissary on them. Even farms printed their own money or stamped out their own coins to be used in the commissary on the farm.
Muddy, he didn't have nothing but a one bedroom, the kitchen, the living room, so a little kitchen built on the back there, made out of log. Had papers out the wall with newspaper and stuff like that, you know. Yeah. He was driving the tractor then.
Whatever was left was the sharecropper's money at the end of the year. So, in many instances, it wasn't much.
Well, I laid down last night. Well, I tried to take my rest.
And that's why early in the morning you hear a guy, he's maybe going out there to catch his mules in the morning or go to pick cotton or something. And he'd come up with a thing about, I would do the same thing because I know all the concern what you're talking about. I would say, if time don't get no better, up the road I'm going, up the road.
When we were little boys, our dad, he made us a guitar on the wall, on the outside wall of the house.
The first thing that, like the first was those one-string slides, you know, that they put on like the wooden cabins. And it's like it converts the whole cabin into a guitar. They do it like this. You see those guys down there do it. And like the whole house becomes the resonating box.
I began it in Mississippi. I first started blowing the harmonic with it.
Well, I went down.
And I became, by 17, 18, I switched over to guitar.
Well, I called on me to pray. Fell on my knee now, Mama didn't know that.
Are you a church-going man at all?
I never knowed him going to no church. He didn't get that guitar and go around to the blues. He's working for the devil. Now, he might have went to church, but I never seen him at no church. All I know he'd be playing the blues and different things.
Well, that's what my grandmother told me when I first picked up a harmonic. I was playing harmonic. She said, well, son, you sinning. You're playing for the devil. The devil will get you, you know. I wanted to be two things, a well-known preacher, a well-known musician. And I couldn't preach, so there was nothing left for me to do but grab a guitar.
Of course, up here where our Stovall store is now, used to be a big commissary up there, and everybody gathered there on the weekends. There was a juke joint on the side.
They usually had what they call fish fries, you know, on those Saturday nights. Those guys catch fresh fish, you know, right out of the Mississippi River. And might go and play for these, what we call parties.
It's sort of like a boiler. A boiler have a pop-off valve on it, you know. Whenever the pressure get too high in there, then the pop-off valve will open up. So we use blues as a pop-off valve for those that was depressed.
Well, now you know, bye-bye, baby. I ain't got no more to say. Now, just like I've been telling you, gal, you're gonna have to. Now I need my help, but hey, you gonna miss me when I'm dead and gone.
Alan Lomax was a folklorist, but he was also someone who was very much interested in the interaction of music and culture. And he got together with a Fisk University professor, and they actually were searching for Robert Johnson. That's who Alan Lomax really wanted to record, but because of various circumstances and limited information, he didn't realize Robert Johnson was dead.
Well, Alan Lomax, he pulled up Monday morning in a brand new Hudson. It's a 42 Hudson Super 6, big car then. And he said, my name is Alan Lomax. I'm from Washington, D.C. He said, I'm from the Library of Congress. He said, I want to record him. I want him to make records for me. He's going to pay me a place to stay and bought me food and brought me back, give me a $20 bill to go to my pocket. Then he went on down and recorded Muddy Water after he left me.
Of course, the story goes, when he heard that the white man was looking for him, he thought it was the revenuer, which I'm sure he had every reason to think. But when he found out it wasn't, I think there was something different about Muddy, where Muddy saw this was a way out. This was a ticket, if not to Chicago, to somewhere beyond Stovall's plantation.
I wondered if you'd tell me, if you can remember, when it was that you made that blues, Muddy Water.
I made that blues up about the 8th of October in '38.
Do you remember where you were when you were doing your singing? And how it happened? So. No, I mean... where you were sitting and what you were thinking about?
Fixing the function on a car. And I had been mistreated by a girl, and this looked like that was running in my mind to sing this. Well, I just felt blue, and the song veiled into my mind.
It's the first time Muddy ever hears his voice on record. Lomax records him and plays it back, and Muddy hears his voice and says, "Man, I can sing."
Well, I feel in my, like I feel today. I'm gonna pack my suitcase and make my give. But I'm trouble.
I think Muddy always felt he would get away, but it was some people that probably felt they never would leave Stovall.
And I never be satisfied, and I just can't keep up.
Once the mechanical picker came into being, there was a lot less need for all these people, and there was quite a mass exodus of the farm labor from this area to the larger cities like Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago.
And I never be satisfied, and I just can't.
The guy I was working with, me and the boss, we had a couple of words, and so that wasn't no place to have too many words for the white dude at that time.
That's your life, right? When Muddy Water was late coming to the wake and got on the tractor, he went on down the field where he was and told him if he's gonna be late like that again, he's gonna put somebody else on that track. He said, "No, you ain't gonna put nobody on there now. You can get it now, 'cause I'm getting old." He got right off of that track and walked on up there, got his suitcase and left away from you.
Mine hit me, said, "Go to Chicago." Just like that. Over. That was on Wednesday. Friday night, I had an arm full of train on my way. You know?
Yeah, and I never be satisfied. I just can't keep up.
On Maxwell Street, there was crowds, and where there was crowds, there was money, and where there was money, there was musicians looking to make some money. They sharpened their sound that way, each playing with the other, each playing against the other in a way. And that's where Muddy began to assemble his band.
John left the South. John came up north.
I got your shoes off Maxwell.
And Maxwell Street was just like this, just full of people. The musicians would walk from Arkansas, Missouri, and Mississippi with the guitar on the back to come to play in Maxwell Street.
Anybody can be a blues singer, a blues player. You can just play one string. You can just play, you know, a glass or a teacup, spoons, bones. You know, that's what the blues is about.
Well, I brought it to Chicago and put the big beat behind it, you know.
Yeah.
So instead of two people, the guitar and the harmonica, no drum, then I brought it to Chicago and I put the drum behind it, I put the bass behind it, and put the big sound to it, and then they named it Chicago Blues. You know. It's the same Delta Blues in my book, though, you know.
So they were meeting the needs of the society, you know what I mean? Get ready, when body can be. You know what I mean? It's come on, shout it up. Friday night, Saturday night, just got paid, you know? And it was city blues. And they were inventing it as they went along because nobody knew anything about electric guitars or how to record them or anything. It was just all beautiful experimentation.
Well, Leonard Chess, let's go to Leonard Chess first, because that's...
Well, my father was an immigrant from Poland, and through his trials and tribulations, he ended up owning a tavern in Chicago called the Macombo Lounge. The club was a club where blacks frequented, jazz musicians late at night, prostitutes. It was a real street kind of club.
Well, babe, I just can't be satisfied, and I just can't keep up.
In 1950, he started Chess Records, and primarily to put out music aimed at the black community. And Muddy Waters was one of the first blues artists on Chess.
I came to Chicago. I felt like I was good enough to get on record, and where I was living at, you know, I didn't have a chance. You know,
No.
There wasn't no that kind of business down at recording, and not in my percentage. So I figured if I come to Chicago and in a while people begin to know me, I'd probably get on record, which that's what did happen. You know.
Muddy Waters had an artistic goal. Leonard Chess had a commercial plan. Insofar as Muddy Waters did not threaten that commercial plan, Leonard Chess was willing to give him room. And from that resulted arguably the most important two-sided record of the post-war era. I Can't Be Satisfied Till I Feel Like Going Home.
Well, baby, I can't never be satisfied, and I just can't keep on. Baby.
The Chesses were immigrants from Poland. The artists most of them were immigrants from the South. They wanted to make money, as immigrants do. They wanted a better life, and a hit was the quickest way.
They was right on time. I wouldn't say they was ahead of their time, but they was right on time, because I don't care how you do that today, you just don't get the music like that, like you did then today.
Stand up before you're ready to blow, so I'll know when to bring you up. All right, no, sit now, but stand up when you're ready to blow. All right.
This son of a bitch over here fucking me up. I can't preach on the first beginning, baby. Can't talk shit on the first beginning.
Talk shit like I'm your baby.
I got to get into it, baby, first.
Baby, you got to get into it from the first word. It's not a broad that you can sit there 2 hours and bullshit with her.
I make her hot and then get her. Make her hot and get her, baby.
We're rolling. Take one. 2, 3, go.
I don't think there's any real difference between the White Devil that was Stovall, Colonel Stovall, and Lomax, and inevitably Leonard Chess, who were the White Devils with whom Muddy had to deal throughout his career and life as a sharecropping blues musician.
You know, my father, my uncle, Chess Records, they weren't angels. If they were angels, they couldn't have survived dealing even with the artists, who weren't angels either. Period.
The gypsy woman told my mother before I was born, you got a boy child's coming. He gonna be a son of a gun.
Yeah, this was the Zanzibar here. This is built for the Zanzibar from the corner to roundabout. I would say right here. And it used to be the stage. As you go in, the stage would be sitting about here. This would be around about the front of the stage here. And Muddy Waters used to sit on this side, be on this side of the stage over here. And when they started playing their music, it was a gigantic, super dynamic sound like you never could imagine. And Muddy Waters would hit his guitar, he would play it, strike it with his picks on his finger. And Jimmy Rogers said, doom, 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 doom. And you would hear that sound ringing all over the place. And the place would be packed with people. People loved the blues. People loved Muddy Waters. They worshiped Muddy Waters. And Muddy Waters was great.
Well, you know the hoochie coochie man. Everybody knows him, yeah. On the 7 hour, on the 7 day, on the 7 month, the 7 doctors say he was born for good luck.
This open sexuality of the blues clubs was really fueled by electricity. Again, these people coming up from Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, they didn't have electricity in their homes, a lot of them. They couldn't read and write. You know, we all know today the power of the electric guitar. Well, can you imagine in a small, packed blues club, to people who were used to acoustic guitar, all of a sudden they're hearing screaming electric guitar, amplified harmonica, loud drums, with a strong backbeat.
And it's still a fool, and hoochie coochie, man. Yeah, that is the most powerful music I've ever heard, the most expressive.
We got great artists, Jimmy Rogers, James Cotton, all those guys came in. There was never better bands than Muddy Waters Band.
So he took the power of the solo blues artist, transformed it to a band, and conveyed it to the audience. So by the time of the mid-1950s, he had had a series of hits, Hoochie Coochie Man included, and had enough money that he could buy a house.
Hello, my name is Charles Williams. I'm a stepson of Muddy Water House. This is the back porch of my papa used to live, Muddy Water. When we moving here?
Yeah.
February 16, 1954 on a Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock from the west side. Okay. He'll come down this way. You know he's coming. Right here. This was the rehearsal room. This should have been a recording studio. This is the rehearsal room, number one. All blues singers, from John Lee Hooker to B.B. King, Bobby Bland, Little Montgomery, Little Brother Montgomery, Little Walton, Memphis Slim. Memphis Slim was right here one day. Him and his friend, they had a concert. And he was on the piano. Wish me well, baby, I got to put you down. And drinking the White Horse Scotch. When I was a little boy, I used to come down here all the time.
Grandma. That's what we called her Grandma. That was Muddy's wife. Well, Geneva would wear like a house coat, usually around the house.
He would come in like at 2 o'clock, and as soon as you hear the door, I would like jump up because I knew he was coming home. That meant I could stay up. I could get up and stay up. Geneva always would get up, and it would be like a Sunday dinner right then.
And she'd smoke a cigarette, and she'd have a cigarette like dangling out of her mouth while she's talking to you. The smoke would be running up her nose. So she made me rabbit. I had never tasted rabbit before, but I never had anything like coon or things like that, But I would hear Muddy talk about it, and like those country people say, well, you got to know how to cook him. They give it a personality, that you got to know how to cook him,
Now, this is the room where Muddy Water and my father used to sleep at, right here. Sometime now here, the TV was here.
He basically would like lay in the bed all day and look at TV. Baseball. He loved baseball, loved the White Sox. So he would lay on TV and look and eat ice cream. Ice cream.
Oh, yeah. One of his favorite foods was black walnut ice cream and grape pop. Knee-high grape soda. And then he'd take like a half a gallon of the ice cream and just let a big chunk go in there and he'd make a soup. Like when I was a little kid, man. He loved that, but Muddy loved that. He really enjoyed that.
I'm gonna say something to you. I don't care how you feel. You just don't realize you got yourself a good deal. She's 19 years old.
He was married to Geneva. They got along all okay, but it was a lot of friction because of outside women.
Geneva, the wife, she was at home. She was ill. Okay, Leola stayed on the safe south side also. I don't know how far from Muddy she stayed. But Mildred, she was the woman that goes to the club, I imagine. And I was the younger one that was in the background.
Muddy had a girlfriend, I can't remember her name. She was really pretty. She'd always be there. And then right around the corner, he had a family.
Lucille was his mistress all through my childhood.
He was romantic and very jealous. Very, very jealous. Real jealous.
When I would go out, if anyone came up and asked for a dance, he would come off the dance floor. He would come off the stage. And it was a problem.
Yeah, he was a passionate man. You know, usually all country boys are. They keep more than one woman. Yeah, he's very passionate. He tells you about the number of kids he got. He got his share.
Lucille was quite a character. She would call the house, you know, come by the house when the kids came into picture. They would be dropped off at the house, and it was very disrespectful for Geneva. He felt he could do anything and get away with it, and he did.
Very mean, inconsiderate, because I have to say inconsiderate, because when I told him I was pregnant, then I don't think Muddy believed that T was his son until after he was born. And then he couldn't say he wasn't because he looked just like him.
Well, I learned a long time ago that the only thing that a black man have is his lady. Nothing else. He can have money and anything else, but the one thing that a black person, black male like, is his lady. And if he got his lady, no money, no anything else, he's happy.
John, a 19-year-old, she got way just like a baby child. Nothing I can do to please her, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. To make this young woman feel satisfied.
Introducing the sights and sounds of jazz at the Newport Jazz Festival. Well, this will be a blues program. Muddy Waters tells stories with his blues. Here's Muddy with the story of a charm that failed. I've got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you.
Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you. Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you.
I think Muddy's biggest record was when he went to Newport and did Mojo Working live, and after that, they started bringing all of us in.
Got my mojo working. Got my mojo working. Got my working. Got my mojo.
You know, it was again, I think, the first taste of that sexuality that he showed to those early black clubs, that he laid on this 99% white audience, and they just went crazy.
And I think in the 1960 Newport Festival, he showed his ass. You know, he just like ripped it up. It's like, okay, changing of the guard, and the audience is there, different audience. What is this about? Curiosity, mystery. Boom, stamp of approval.
Got my mojo working. Got my mojo working. Working. Got my mojo working. Got my mojo working, but just don't work on you.
I started seeing more and more white faces. Then the college kids started coming in, more and more, and you realize it was just the music, just the blues.
Well, the show that you would see Muddy do at Pepper's wasn't the show that you would see Muddy do when he was at these folk concerts or something, you know. Muddy would turn around and take a beer bottle and shake it up really good and put it in his pants. Then he'd turn back around and start singing, "I'm a man." And then he would unzip his pants, pull out the beer bottle, pop the cap, and foam would be coming all out. And he's shaking the beer bottle, "I'm a man," and shaking the microphone. And the ladies would be just swinging their purses, saying, "Sing it, Muddy, sing it."
He's there singing about sex and fighting. And I think the English kids, their minds were blown by this. So they said, wow, you know, we want to do that. That's different, that's wild, that's radical.
But things like, I just want to make love to you, I mean, it's universal.
I just want to make love to you. It wasn't da-da-da-da, I don't want you, ba-da-ba-da-da. It was dun-dun-dun-dun, I don't want you, da-da-da-da.
Make love to you, baby. Love to you, sweet love to you.
People liked it, actually. It gave them another concept of blues music, I suppose, that it didn't all have to be slow.
To you.
Rolling Stones, aren't they great?
We'd managed to get our way to America and actually to get the record in Chess, Studio 2120, South Michigan Avenue. Right? Some guy painting the ceiling on a step ladder. And as we're walking by and this guy is explaining the studio, he said, "Oh, by the way, you might like to meet this guy. That's Muddy Waters." And under there's Muddy in overalls and he's whitewashing, and I'll never forget the image, and it's the most amazing. It's Muddy's great big beaming black face, and it's all splattered with whitewash. And I'm looking at my man, right, on the top of this stepladder with a paintbrush covered in whitewash. And that's the way I meet Muddy.
Yeah, that's not a true story. That's some kind of Keith's fantasy, and I tease him about that too. He swears that's what's true, but first of all, if you knew Muddy Waters, you just know that wasn't happening, you know? He just wasn't in there painting the wall. Muddy was always dressed sharp as a tack. He wasn't about to be getting them paint spots on his Stetson shoes or his custom-made suit, you know?
The second day, we were unloading our guitars and stuff out of the van and carrying them into the studio, and somebody behind us said, you boys want a hand? We looked around, it was Muddy Waters, and we were like in total shock. How I'd asking if he could help us carry the guitars in, and he actually did.
The Stones, the Eric Clapton, the Jeff Becks, and all those people who were selling platinum records, but they came back and say, this is not new music, this is Muddy Waters music.
So when we brought it to America, it was like a new music to the white kids here as well, because they hadn't really heard it or didn't really know about it, and they'd say, where can we get this music? And it was just down the road there. Just go across the river and it's there, you know. We had to come across the ocean. You just have to go across the river and it's there. And they were all like surprised.
Time, I don't think
kids, white kids could buy my record and take it home because the mother and father would probably break it up, you know. What they said was dirty blues.
Why dirty blues?
They didn't know no better.
Black blues is dirty blues?
Black blues was dirty.
The single worst thing that ever happened to blues was an oversimplification that the blues was totally and completely only about suffering and represented nothing more than people whining and bellyaching about their problems. What that characterization did was it made it seem as if the blues were something that ought to be forgotten, that ought to be overcome.
Black people in my race that really it's not getting into the blues, especially the young kids. They went the other way, you know, so we got to try to make them live somewhere, you know. So I think the blues should forever live.
Yeah, well, when rock and roll kind of came in heavy, it kind of pushed the blues out. Because people, I think, they're kind of confused. This was a new thing out in the street, and they liked it. And it's kind of just closed the blues down around Chicago. Me and Muddy used to get in a station wagon and drive around to different clubs at night. Where there used to be blues was rock and roll playing in them.
The blues club scene had dropped out completely in Chicago. He wasn't making the kind of money. He was playing Big John's, you know, and those kind of clubs. So I discussed doing Electric Mud with him, and he went for it.
Be no slave. I don't want you to work all day. I don't want you sad and blue. I just want to make love to you.
You know, the voice and the character of Muddy Waters still stands above all the new music that was cut in Electric Mud. That's what's, you know, that's what created a hook for me to get into it, because I was like, whoa, okay. You know, this is a total song. These vocals here are actually pulling the music along with it. The music is not leaving the vocal.
And I put the album out, and it took off like a rocket ship. It was the biggest Muddy Waters album ever. I think we sold 150,000 within the first 6 weeks. And then the blues critics went on a campaign against it.
And the thing that really got me is when I started reading up on Electric Mud. I could not understand why critics bashed it. I was like, wait a minute, this is different from a traditional blues record, I understand, but this jam is hitting.
Bo would be driving, you know, and then the band would be sleeping, and Bo would turn around and say, wake up, yo, wake up. I don't like this. I got to drive, yo, sleeping. And then Sonny would say, man, why don't you shut up, you ugly, you know? And said, we the stars, Sonny would say. And then Bo would say, ain't but one star in this band, and that's Muddy Waters. And then he'd go, I see the moon and the moon sees me. God bless the moon and God bless me.
So we'd just go back to the hotel room, we'd sit down and drink beer, drink a little liquor, and play a little poker, you know. So that's what we did. That was our thing, just play a little poker, you know. So that was the fun part of it.
He would sit in the hotel room, usually in a black silk undershirt and black silk boxers and black silk socks that were, you know, those pimp socks you could kind of see through.
Otis Spann drank, and S.P. Leary drank, and Luther Georgia Boy Snake Johnson drank, and Muddy Waters drank, and I drank, and the whole darn band drank. We played the blues.
69, October 69. Okay, we just had did this gig. We was in I can't even remember the name, but it was this was all black club anyway in
Covington, Tennessee. and Muddy and the band all wanted to go back to Chicago right after the gig.
Almost back to Champaign when the accident occurred, which we all seen it.
All of a sudden, I'm riding in the truck and I hear Bo say, "Lord have mercy." And then I hear this noise come over the truck, all kinds of debris.
He was in the hospital for about, I guess, a good 6 months or better.
What did Muddy say when you took him out?
He didn't say nothing to me, but I mean, Bo was also helping him. But he looked up at Bo and said, "Is my face messed up?" Because I mean, Muddy, I guess, knew that his looks had a lot to do with how he got over him in his music.
He got hurt in a car accident. He had a pin in his hip, and that's what started him to sitting down back again after we all stood up in Chicago.
It was amazing to me to see somebody who seemed to have it all be unhappy inside for the same reasons that the rest of us are.
The guy was totally unneurotic, self-analytical. He just didn't brood a lot, and yet his music has all those qualities in it.
Sail on, Marlin, honeybee, sail on.
It was hard to read Muddy, hard to know what he was thinking. When he spoke, he had a habit. He used to go like this with his finger when he was thinking, but it was almost like watch his mouth so he doesn't open it and say the wrong thing. He was very guarded to that extent. He told me, if you got something good, keep it in your pocket. Don't tell people.
Shipping all around the world making honey. Now she's coming back home to me.
The turn from the 60s to the 70s ends up being a really difficult period in Muddy's life. Leonard Chess dies, you know, they're buddies, and the label is falling apart and is sold. Muddy has this terrible car crash, spends a long time in the hospital, comes out from the hospital, and in no time, Otis Spann dies, which is his longtime piano player. And then Geneva, his wife, gets diagnosed with cancer, and she dies.
When she got sick, he was really distraught with all of that, because I think Geneva kept everything together. Before it was right shortly after that Muddy decided that he was going to go get his outside kids. Because at that time, Lucille had lost custody of the children. They were all in homes. So he decided, instead of them being in a home, that he would go get them.
Well, my home's in the Delta, way out on that Bombers Road.
Right about the time that I joined Muddy's band, he did move out to Westmont, Illinois.
Now you know I'm leaving Chicago, and people I sure do hate to go.
I hated Westmont. I hated with a passion. I was like, where has he taken us?
Now you know I'm leaving here in the morning. Won't be back no more.
Blues is getting more popular with more festivals, and they were adding blues acts to festivals. Even jazz festivals would have Muddy Waters, and so and then Johnny Winters was producing Muddy Waters. His profile was coming up.
We recorded the Hard Again album in October 1976 with Johnny Winter producing.
That was a new height. I mean, you was begin to realize at that point that you was a musician. I mean, this is when we learned really learned at that point, this is the way a musician's supposed to be.
I was very, very glad to see that he had a joyous last bunch of years with enough recognition and money and comfort and adulation, and I think he had a lady companion or two, so I was happy to see it. I was ready to volunteer.
Oh yeah, he always would wake me up, and anytime the song would come in his head, he'd get me up. Wake up, Mom, wake up, you gotta write, you gotta write. I always kept a pen and a pencil by. And he'll sit there and he'll tell me what to write, and I will write it. And I'll be half asleep and nodding, but I'll be writing.
When I met him, he'd already been through his really tumultuous years and was a much mellower man, but you could see the turmoil that spawned the blues that then spawned rock and roll.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Everything gonna be all right this morning.
When he sings, I'm a man, I mean, those guys can't even compare to what he's got. He's packing in his spirit, forget his pants, you know.
Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I'm gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21.
But I mean, said before that Muddy's main instinct come from here.
I'll have lots of fun. I'm a man. I spell him A-child.
And it's almost like the less he played, as he got older, sometimes he would sit on a stool and then they finally get up and start dancing around. The minister's home.
Oh, yeah. Setting out that line. I gotta make love to you, baby. In 5 minutes time. Ain't that a man? I'll spell him.
He never felt defeat. I mean, he never let us see how he actually felt. I mean, he still was in good spirit. And he was always in good spirit till he passed away.
That mean mannish boy. You know, because he had cancer or something, and they had him down in Florida, but he just kept it. He didn't want nobody to know that. And he said for the last 2 or 3 months or something, he would just stay in the house in the dark. He didn't want nobody to see him.
But he was in bed we were both in bed, and I heard him take his last. I was there. And that's what he wanted to be with his family.
Once upon a time, I had the blues. I mean, I had them bad, you know. I couldn't pay my light bill, and I couldn't pay my rent. They really got the blues now. But, I mean, today I can pay my rent, and I can pay my light bill, and I still got the blues. I must have been born with them. I think it's from the heart, which I know it's from the heart. That's my religion, blues.
put everybody down. Yeah, you know I done got lucky. Find me a bird that's on the ground. Well, you know, I don't care what nobody said, and I don't care what to do.